Hey everyone, I'm here with James Rath, who, believe it or not, is, and as much as it sounds like an oxymoron, he is a legally blind filmmaker. You can go and check out his channel to see how that works. It's actually quite incredible. I'm fully sighted and I still struggle with making films, so I don't know how he does it. But he is here today because he is going to educate me and you about three very important things that he would like sighted individuals to understand about accessibility for people with visual impairments. What is one of the first things that you would want people to know?
First off, the spectrum is a thing. It's not just sighted or blind. I fall under legally blind. I don't really fit in with sighted, and I can't necessarily pass as being fully blind. So I do have some sight that is usable to an extent, but it's also usable at different parts of the day. Usually in the morning, for the first hour or so, my eyes are just trash. I can't use them. Then usually around 11 o'clock, my eyes are kind of the best that they're gonna be. They're still legally blind, 2200 acuity, but that's as good as it's gonna get. Then towards the evening, late afternoon, it's gonna get to just if acuity makes sense to anyone, 20 to 250, sometimes even hitting 2300 at that point. So it usually stays within that realm, which can be very poor eyesight. So it's something that has to be understood and accommodated, and something I might see that morning, I'm not gonna see again in the afternoon, from the distance or from the size that it is. Say I'm in a room in the morning, I can kind of see the surroundings a little bit better. But then in the afternoon, if things have been moved, changed around, I'm not gonna process that right away.
You're not gonna know right away.
Slip, I might trip into something, so I may have to feel my way around a bit, especially at night when there's no light. I'm a cane user at night, so I use a white cane to feel my way around. So light helps, but then I also have albinism, which makes it so too much light can blind me, basically, can wash out, overexpose my vision.
It's almost like the opposite of what people think blindness is. A lot of people just think blind and they think black, but then for you, with your albinism, it can be the opposite, where everything's
yellow.
just
Yeah.
looking into the sun.
The sun and I, we've got a bone to pick with each other.
You got a complicated relationship.
Yeah. It's got to be understood that vision is not going to be the same. You need the right amount of light. And again, as my vision does fluctuate throughout the day, the degree of light might need to change as well.
It might be a fully sunny day and you don't need sunglasses early in the morning, but then later in the afternoon you might need to wear sunglasses, even though the light is the same.
Correct. And when you're friends with or interacting with someone who has a visual impairment, don't just assume that their case is going to be a particular way, and that it's important to ask how you can accommodate them, maybe what they're seeing, what they're not seeing.
And asking them how does it fluctuate for you? Again, spectrum, it varies from person to person. So just asking them how things can change for them and what they might need accessibility wise as a result of that fluctuation. How is it for you as a visually impaired person when someone tries to give you a vague direction to something where maybe they're trying to tell you where something is that you're looking for, or it's something that they want you to get for them? What is something about that you would like to share with me and the audience here?
First of all, I don't know how you sighted people do it. I'll hear Bobby over here telling George, hey, grab the that thingy that's right by the wall over there. I'll be like, what? Got it. Oh. How? What? You didn't know what color it was, you didn't know what it was next to or in between, you didn't know if it was under, So yeah, if you tell me to grab, for example, a book there's multiple shelves going on. One book, but there's many things, like collections of figurines or a lot of contrasting colors on these shelves. And you want me to find this book, especially when it's a darker color and it's blending in with a darker shelf. It's gonna take me a while to find that because it's blending in. It's things blend in color-wise with when I'm trying to see things when they're very similar. I need to know at what height level it's gonna be at, what it's next to in between, what colors are around it, and usually the size helps too. I can't have vague directions, otherwise I'm gonna get stuck and you're gonna get stuck. So being descriptive with your directions is gonna be important.
So going off of being descriptive, I think it's something that those of us who are sighted individuals, it can sometimes feel uncomfortable because you don't want to feel like you're making that person sound stupid. A sighted person should be able to find it just fine, but then if someone who has a visual impairment needs extra assistance or extra description, that's not an insult to them. It's an aid. It's accessibility for them. It's okay to be extra descriptive and to give more information than you normally would, because to make it accessible for them, they have to be able to compensate for the lack of whatever it is. Sight, hearing, it's a compensation. So where you might feel like you are being overly descriptive or giving more information than you normally would think is necessary, that's probably how much you should be doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What is the last thing that you would like everyone to know?
Well, not just being descriptive with directions, but being descriptive with anything that you're trying to get the point across. If there's something that needs visual attention, it's going to need descriptive attention verbally. For example, like theater is something that I did. I did acting. I was in theater on the stage, and I was able to enjoy the play from even like a viewing standpoint more because I'm actually in it. I'm up close. I've rehearsed it. I've run through it. I know what's happening. But when I'm the audience member, even from the front row, I can't see really what's going on. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to pay attention when you don't know the details. And so you zone out because it's like, this isn't an accessible piece of medium. There are audio descriptions available at theater, and it's something I do want to experience. I never have. It's never something that's been offered at any place I've been to. Mainly community and theater at school. But it's something that should be like accommodated and available when requested. Also with video, audio descriptions are important, and they have wide use, not just with people who are visually impaired or blind, but people who have cognitive disabilities as well can benefit from audio descriptions. Mm-hmm. And that's, I mean, it's a person by person basis what they prefer, but at the same time, not every blind person likes audio descriptions. So again, it's a person basis, though I have some visual context of what's going on. For example, with a movie or a show, when I'm watching on Netflix, I might miss some things because I'm up close to my screen. I have a 15-inch computer, and I'm pretty up close, so sometimes I'll be looking like close or zoomed in on one part of the image, but then something's going on over here. But it might be something important that I'm going to miss, but when an audio description's going on, then it says, oh, Sally's glaring at so-and-so over here, then I can move, good to know. You know, and I don't even have to look over. I can still focus on this part of the screen where there's a little bit of action, but then the audio description is telling me that there's action over here as well. So descriptions, they're nice because they allow access to me, like for me. I can get the same enjoyment as everyone else out of visual content or just in very visual situations.
Like a good way to think of descriptions in terms of accessibility is taking that information that you and I would typically take in visually and then just putting that information into a different sense. So in terms of audio descriptions, you can take visual information that would be taken in by sight and you can transfer it over to audio information that can be taken in through sound, so that someone who doesn't have that visual ability now has the audio ability, and then it is completely accessible to them in the same level. There's enough technology these days that there's no excuse to not make content accessible.
Absolutely.
And part of that is just educating, and that is why we talked about this today, because there are things that me as a sighted person, I just don't think about, and it's important to have conversations like this where I can be informed by someone who experiences life in a different way than I do. I mean, that's a lot of what I do on my channel. It's just share a different perspective on things like what I experience with autism, and I help not only people who experience it also, but also people who don't experience it, and they can have an understanding of where I'm coming from and where other people are coming from in that area. I really appreciate you explaining all that to me and being vulnerable about the difficulties that you faced. I hope that you guys watching were able to learn something new about making things accessible, whether it's content or just your interactions with people who have visual impairments. Think about what you can do and remember that not everyone sees the world the same way that you do, literally or metaphorically. If you would like to go check out James's channel, we actually made a video together on his channel talking about the similarities and yet contrasts of symptoms versus the source of the symptom, and how in some cases when we were younger we experienced the same thing but for different reasons. It was a very interesting discussion, and if you have a moment, I would highly recommend that you go at least check out his channel and see what he's done, but also take a moment and watch our video, because who wouldn't want to see more of us, right?
Thanks for having me on your channel. It's been a pleasure.
But that's all I have to share for you today. So until next time, I hope that you take care of yourself, and I hope that you have a very wonderful day. Thank you for watching. Bye!